What is going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Clocking Out. I am your host, PR the King of Hearts, and today we are finally kicking it and chilling and chopping it up with Jolly Jacko. We've been talking a lot about all these different accounts that have been popping out of nowhere. It started off with just a few and just a handful. Now I believe we're up in like the 20s or something of accounts that are made already of these VFriend character accounts. And today we have the pleasure of speaking with one of the people, Jolly Jacko. If I'm not mistaken, you are the second one. I believe the first one that I saw that I had the pleasure of speaking with was Carly, who was doing the Patient Piggy account. And then after that, your account showed up out of nowhere, and then you and her were going back and forth. So today we're gonna kick it with you and get to know a little bit. It's all, we're gonna try to keep it as a mystery as possible. So anyone who's tuning in, whether you're watching or listening to this podcast episode live or rewatching this after the fact, if you can gather some clues through the conversation and figure out who this person is behind the PFP, behind the mask of Jolly Jacko, it'll keep things more entertaining for everyone. So without further ado, Jolly Jacko, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. What's up?
So how's your day, man? How's everything?
Man, just getting home from school. I'm a teacher at an elementary school, and I work the after school program, so I kind of work till 5 o'clock every day, and then come home and do these type of things.
I love that, man. And how long have you been a teacher for?
This is my 7th school year. I'm a technology teacher, so I got the fun stuff.
And oh wow, okay. So as far as but when they say like tech, as in, because I remember when I was in school and they say tech, that we were doing stuff for like wood and wood shop and everything like that. Or are you an actual like tech, like technology?
Technology. I teach them how to just use computers in general, leading up to them going to middle school. So I start with the basics, and whatever they show me they can learn, I'll just keep building off of that.
Nice. And so before we get more into who you are as a person, let's get into this whole little, I don't even know what you would call it. Like, it's a little phenom thing that's going on right now in the sense of all these accounts being created. I felt like you and Carly both started this, and it first, if I'm not mistaken, it started off something really like playful and entertaining as first as two people going back and forth, and now it's like it turned into like this movement of all these accounts being made and all these people joining in on the fun and you know, doing these role playing things. And I want to get a little bit into that before we get into anything of who you are personally. So
Yeah, well, like we were talking earlier, like I've known Carly for probably only about a year or a little over a year. I reached out to her about some other business things about how to, market yourself on the internet or social media, and we talked then, and then we kind of just built a relationship there. And then she reached out to me she actually was teaching me some things and showing me some things for my business accounts I have, and kind of just being kind of a mentor and helping me out. And was just doing it, and we both love VFriends, and we had that connection. But we were just talking one day, because we talked about once a week over the summer, and then she was bringing up her account, and then I said, I was talking about Jolly Jacko, and I just said, you know what, I may just make an account for fun. I never thought that it was going to lead to kind of where we are today, but it was more or less just like an idea that kind of just got brought up, and then I made the account, and then I just started using the cards, as kind of like a flat Stanley type deal, and just took pictures of it anywhere. And then I made that little comic where I made fun of her, and we just kind of went back and forth, and it just kind of built from there.
I love that. I love how you guys had like this playful thing about it. Like other people, especially nowadays, they would take it like it's a spam account or something. And I love the way that you went about it to show that you aren't a bot, that you aren't a spam account, that you are an actual person just having a good time with it and role playing and just, going back and forth. And you guys had like this playful way about it, which is what caught my attention, because like I said, especially right now online, there's so many accounts that like it's so hard to tell what's a spam account, what's a real account, what's bots, what's people trying to spam you on something or scam you on an account, especially when it comes to the world of Web3.
Oh yeah.
So easy for someone to act like someone else, whether it's acting like, you know, like they're Gary Vee and they just put a picture of him and then they try to like follow everyone that the original account follows. Like there's certain things that I know platforms have, such as like the on X, I know it's the blue check, but again, anyone can pay for that. Then on Instagram, it's the same thing too. There's a certain check as well, and like there's a whole bunch of certain things that are on accounts that kind of let you know what is a real account, what is a fake account. And that's the thing. I felt like you were able to do that without any of that, just by doing your interactions and showing that you're an actual human being, that you're able to, you know, you were creating specific memes. It wasn't like copy paste things. Like you were actually putting stuff specifically with those characters and specifically putting the text. That's what like made it funny. And the way that you guys, like, she would say something, you would say something like right back. It didn't take really too much time for you to have a response to it. And it was just that playful thing about it, always seeing on my account. That's what caught my attention. I was like, all right, maybe this isn't like a spam account. Maybe this is an actual person. Maybe I gotta like look into this, what's really going on. And Carly first mentioned it and brought it to my attention. And I at first I was like, nah, they're just spam accounts. She's like, no, I'm telling you, watch. Like, I'm gonna say something and he's gonna come back and this, like, and she was still trying to figure out who you were at the time. And she brought it up to me. She's like, just keep an eye on it, because I'm telling you, it's gonna turn into something. And long and behold, little by little, it went from 3 accounts to 7 to 12 to 17 to now it's like,
I think we're at 28 maybe. I think.
yes, now you see what I mean? Jesus. And it was just at like 17 last week or something.
Yeah, like we were gaining like 1 or 2 a day for a while.
I love it though. I love it. And I love how you keep putting up like the family. I don't even know what to call it. I just, this is myself personally. I've been saying it's the family portrait that you have with all the accounts and all.
Yeah. When you mentioned that on the podcast with Carly that time, I was like, well, I guess it's the family portrait, because I didn't have a name for it either, but that's what we're gonna go with now.
I love it, man. And it's really entertaining every day to see it build up more and more and see more, the more it's just getting more and more crowded. And not only is it bringing in perspective like how many freaking V-friend accounts there are and how many characters there are, but at the same time it's starting to put in perspective more, like when you see something as far as like numbers on an account that it's 1,000, 2,000, 3 million, whatever, it's one thing. But when you actually see physical things that represent it, and you can actually count it, or you can see the difference between it, and you see it all group up, and you just start seeing, well, you can see the full picture, and now everything's like overflowing and overlapping to the point that you really can't see that much because there's that many characters. But then you start realizing that there's really an actual physical person behind each account, that it goes to put things in perspective. Like, all right, this thing is actually a lot bigger than what people realize, in my opinion, you know?
And like I said, it was not really, it was just more of a, I'm gonna do this just for fun. I really never thought that it would even build to where it was. And then once it started, I was like, well, I guess here we go. And I've been trying to keep up with it. And we have our own like chat that we all talk in and talk about ideas about what we see as far as like posts, because I know Carly's mentioned that she goes and reaches out and says stuff to people and make comments. Well, there's multiple of us in this group that do that now. We go into people's accounts, and if they're having a bad day, we try to at least uplift them for a little bit, because you never know what people are going through. And like one little comment from like a character with a pumpkin head could like change their whole perspective that whole day and make their day a little bit better for whatever they're going to. So like, and honestly, I do it for myself for that too, because like that's something I always wanted to do. But it, like, you know, sometimes you have reserves of doing things like that, but it's easier to do it right now because I'm faceless and I have the pumpkin heads, and like no one really knows. But like you said, people know that I'm actual a real person, not a bot. So like I've had people like just have full conversations every day with me and like talk to me like I'm their boy or like, you know, a friend, like, and just things like that. So I try to stay involved in all the platforms and like communicate with people and just try to brighten somebody's day every day.
I hear you, man. And I like the fact that you guys are focusing on that. You guys aren't focusing on trying to take advantage of the fact of how popular these characters are in this community. Like I said, it's hard to trust people, especially when you don't know who they are behind the PFP and the profile picture, and pretending to be other characters or other people, and you don't know what their intentions are. But you guys are leading with a good foot forward in the sense of jumping into random people's accounts or people in the community and spreading that positivity and that love, that support. And that's the thing I think that really matters and stands out about the V Friends communities. Like, that's the main thing. Like, whether you're in this thing for the flipping and the trading and collecting and all that stuff like that, at the end of the day, I think the number one thing everyone really has in common is the fact that everyone is just trying to build some type of connection with someone who can relate or understand either what they've been through, what they're going through, or what they're trying to achieve. And people find the similarities in their stories, and we all gravitate to each other. Like, what I've been noticing about this community is that everyone in this community so far has been through some type of something crazy that really affects people and changes their perspective of point of view as far as trusting other people. And the fact that you guys are just literally showing, like, look, it really doesn't matter who you are, who's really behind the PFP or not. I'm just here to let you know that, everything's all right. You're going to have a good day, and, think positive and keep moving forward and keep a good perspective on things. And that's what I like what you guys are all doing. You guys are really using these PFPs and these characters in a positive way to just spread just positivity in general, period. And that's what I love and I really appreciate about you guys. But what I want to ask you is, how did you decide on the Jolly Jack? Out of all, like I mentioned, there's so many characters. And
Yeah.
I didn't even know there were so many that existed. But how is it that you were able to decide on the Jolly Jack as your V Friends persona, and what aspect of that character resonates with you personally?
Well, I mean, in the beginning, if I was really like, I don't know, because like I like Halloween, and I think when the pins and stuff came out last Halloween and the super stickers, I really thought they were cool just because I mean I just like the color, the way the colors popped and stuff like that, and I just kind of resonated with the pumpkin just really because I like the design for the most part. And then when I don't know why I said the pumpkin, but I had started collecting some of the cards. Like I got a lot of cards, but the pumpkin in particular. If honestly, like the one that I really resonated with the most was the wizard. Like I have a bunch of wizard stuff, so like that's kind of like more for me. But I think I was just kind of finding something different. Like, yeah, I like the wizard, but let's try something different. And then I just kind of fell into it. And I think when I said it, it just kind of came out, and I just said, all right, let's roll with it. Now, what resonates with me from the pumpkin, I I guess being the jokester and just doing things to make people laugh. I didn't really realize that was honestly part of it. I knew it was open minded type deal and things like that, but I didn't really put the whole jokester thing. That just kind of happened, which then it ended up being perfect. So that's that's
And
kind of how I just went along with that.
and besides, like, if you would have chosen, like, what do you think really got, but before, because I know you mentioned the wizard, and so before, like, what is it that attracted you to the wizard in general for you to collect the wizard? Because it's me, and I was when I first got into this, I first gravitated to the knowing gnome. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I really don't like gnomes, and then for whatever reason, when he first drew it, I saw a video of him drawing the gnome, and the first thing that stuck out and always stuck out for whatever reason was the red of the hat. And I was like, the knowing gnome, knowing gnome, and I always wanted to get that one. But
I,
then after a while, what stuck out was the wizard. And it's like I always had a hard time jumping back and forth. And it's like now I don't even really know what exactly I'm on. Like, I'm a fan of all of them, but I really don't know which one to pick. Like, for anyone who has a hard time really picking, being that you went on your pumpkin and you had your reason, like, what do you think helped you really lean on that? And what do you think would help as advice wise other people that have a hard time deciding on what character they like between all of them?
well, I just think maybe I'm not really sure why I really just went that way, to be honest with you. I think it was just one of those things that I think it was like because the pumpkin was what I recently was like collecting and looking for, and kind of, and I like the whole Halloween theme of the cards, like the zealous zombie and all those cards. Like I just like the colors, the way they pop on the card, because I'm into art and stuff too. So like just the design of the character itself kind of like drew me to it. And you know, what was the second part of that question? I kind of
What, but besides for like the appearance of it and everything, what do you like as advice wise, like for other people who have a hard time deciding between characters? Like, let's say like they needed to like, because I'm when it comes to collecting, you don't need to just specifically collect one, but I
yeah.
know everyone has like their one character that they resonate with. Like, what's something that helped you lean more towards the pumpkin that you say other people should use that same technique if they had a hard time deciding on which one character they had to choose?
Well, I guess, first look into yourself and see if that character kind of is the trait goes along with what you believe in, what your mindset is, and then kind of just see which one that you could run with and like, and just be that character. Like if you had to be a cosplay, could you do that? And then it's not about cosplay or anything like that, but like just find what resonates with you with that particular character, if it's the trait, if it's design, and then once you get into it, kind of like just put your mindset into that and try to create. If you're going to create things, like create stuff that is going to help that character in its traits and all that stuff.
And what inspired you to create a social media profile based on a VFriends character? Like you could have just made up your own, you could have used anything else. Why did you choose to be like, you know what? I'm gonna take this a step further. Instead of just being a fan, instead of just being a collector, I'm gonna make a profile and role play as this actual VFriends character. I'm gonna be Jolly Jacko.
Well,
Like,
it was me and Carly, like I said, and like honestly, before I had a Twitter or X account with my business, but I never really used it. I never really been on Twitter much at all, as far as like knowing how it works, until Jolly Jacko. When I said that, I was like, well, I'm just going to try Twitter out and go that route, because I know she had an impact on that, and that's how she goes and has her fun time. So I was like, well, we can go back and forth. And I just, when I created Jolly Jacko, that's when I started my Twitter, journey. So like, as long as that I've been on there for Jolly Jacko, that's pretty much the most I've ever done on Twitter.
and what about your other accounts? Like,
Okay. Well, see, once I started the Twitter one, I knew that once it got on Twitter, I had to go do Facebook and I had to do Instagram, because each one of them, if you follow me on all three of them, they all I kind of do different things, but the same things on each one. Like I use Twitter kind of for my let's play around, go back and forth with all the characters, because I know there's a lot more character profiles on that. So you can do that. My Facebook, I more or less go in there and ask questions to people and just try to get conversations going, and kind of just going back and forth, just get some banter going, and talk. And then my Instagram, it's kind of like Twitter, but not really. I do a lot of more, I feel like I do more inspirational stuff on my Instagram for the most part that I share to my Twitter. So each one of them kind of has its own purpose in my world.
and being that you're basically jumping on all these different social media platforms, and I like asking this question to everyone because it's me, and I have a hard time balancing jumping from one account to another, whether I'm doing it for my personal accounts, whether I'm doing it for the podcast. Like I always feel like it's kind of hard keeping up with it, but it's something that you have to do and it's necessary, especially when you're doing stuff with social media content, live streaming and things like that. You have to stay in the loop with things. And then you as well, being a person that's doing like a role-playing account, I see that you keep up with the theme of like the stories, and Carly's mentioned it as well. For the patient pig account that she has, not only is she always like trying to just make sure that she's spreading positivity and everything, and making people aware of patients, but she also keeps up with like the story or the theme that's being created and written for the characters in their comic books, and that's getting shared with the VFriends accounts. And I see that she jumps from one account to another, and each account she shares content in a different way depending on which account that she's on.
Yeah.
And so, with your firsthand experience, which social media profile do you feel like is more user friendly in the sense of like, because like whether it's the community or just reaching out to random people in general who have no idea what VFriends is, in your experience, what do you feel is like the best social media friendly account? I mean, like social media account. Like, you know, is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? Is it Twitch? Is it this? I mean, is it not Twitter, X? You know, because I know there's each account has like you mentioned, each account has its purpose. You're doing something different in each one. But like, which one do you feel like would be the best one for someone to start if they're trying to enter in this community to really network or speak with people and interact with people?
I think X's would be the one because, and again, I'm new on it myself, but I feel like when I got on X with this character, when I was chatting with people, when I was talking to people, that I was actually talking to people that actually cared. On like Instagram, you get followers. No one's really, in my experience, no one was really kind of getting into it. It was more or less just a visual type thing. And Facebook was more or less just talking to someone like that. But to get to learn people on a personal level and actually see people's lives, X was where it's at for me, because I'm able to see people and talk to people that are actually, I can see they post like their daily lives that you can actually see, and they answer back and they talk. And it's like, it's not about just buying something and selling something. People actually talk just to be friends. And then like VCon, you see that happen, and you see these people that have never met each other in their entire lives, but they've talked just like me and you were talking and meeting. And then next thing you know, they're at VCon or these different places and like having the best time of their lives. Like, and meeting each other and like just starting their relationship together as like, now we met. Like, even though we've been talking and we're friends and I love you, like now we actually physically met. We're like, I can actually hug you and give you five and dap you up and stuff. So
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that aspect about it also. Like, that's something that I was really, as much as I love all the talks and all the guest speakers that VCon has and all the performers, the number one thing that I really miss, because I only went to one, which is the one from last year, and I really wanted to go this year and I couldn't go. But the one thing I was really looking forward to, and I always tell people, just interact with people. You're going to see these people from all over the world, the people you've been talking to on social media and in the chats and in the DMs and all that. Like, just meet these people, meet. And that's the thing. Like, you start building these relationships with people and you find out that you have more in common with people that live on the other side of the world that you wouldn't really expect. And it's a great thing. But what is it like? How do you balance maintaining the character accounts and the essence of like adding your own personal stuff? Like, how do you balance that? Like, when you made the memes for Carly and everything, like you had this playful banter with her back and forth and you guys have this thing, like, how is it that you're able to know, like, you know what, or do you not even think about it that deep, where you just, you know what, I'm just gonna do this, and if it works and it's funny, and if not, oh well. Like, you know, how do you know, like, you're gonna make this and it's gonna come off in the right way, or they're not gonna take it wrong? Because I know a lot of people overthink, especially on social media, once again. And I know you mentioned this, it makes it a little bit easier putting on the mask or being behind a PFP. No one knows who
yeah,
you are, so you got this freedom or whatever. But like, what was it that what made you want to take the playful way about it, instead of just being like, you know what, I'm just going to share pictures or informative facts? Instead, you took it a step further and you were like, you know what, I'm going to react and I'm going to pick a target and I'm going to show, like, I want some bacon. You know what I mean? Like, what was it that made you want to take that step and add your own little personal thing to the whole thing
well,
about
yeah, well, I was already kind of adding personal thing, but when I started the whole playfulness, which I'm a playful type of person, joking person, when like someone really gets to know me, I like to laugh, I like to have a good time, and I joke around. But honestly, I made a post one morning, I think, and I said, wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. It's just a saying I say all the time, like try to wake my son up, wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. One of my friends said it one time, and I just kind of stuck. Well, I said it. And then Carly came in and made a comment about, why are you talking about bacon or something along those lines? And from there, I just ran with it. Like, it wasn't a plan. And a lot of the stuff that I post are not really planned. It's just like a spur of the moment. And now that I'm in it and I've been doing it, of course, like, I think more about like my content, like what I want to do now. And I go along because I'm going to start coming at all the other characters too, to kind of get everybody involved in it. But it just, I guess with Carly, it was just, I knew her more on a kind of a personal level. So I knew she don't care that I could come at her with some things, and she's gonna come right back at me. So I'm not worried. But I kind of went her way. But then, like you said, then the other ones popped in, and I've made jokes about the yak. I think I made one about common sense cow the other day or yesterday. So I just I'll just be sitting there. But like, to answer your question about how do I keep up with it, like, it's a lot. And I say a lot, but it's really not a lot. And it's a fun lot, because like, I kind of had to start getting into a schedule, because I am like a teacher. I have a son. I do other things, and I have my sports card business that I run on the side, which is busy. I'm getting ready for a card show this weekend, so I've been doing all that. But you do have to like kind of set some time and not really schedule, but like be mindful about it. And in my mind, I feel like I'll sit there and post the post and go on without my business and my other stuff. And then I feel like within about an hour and a half, I'm like, all right, I need to make something else. And I need to make something now. But I'm now being more purposely thinking about things and thinking about what I can do and stuff like that. So it's not really anything that's actually scheduled and planned. A lot of it's spur of the moment and just what pops in my head. That's why I started the little small podcast on Spotify that I do, Jolly Jacko and his empty-headed thoughts. Those are just like things that if I'm sitting on the couch watching TV or riding down the road and something pops in my head I want to talk about, I just go record real quick, and then I just send that on his way. And just kind of like a random thought, because we all sit there and have random thoughts and say you wish you would have recorded them, but you didn't. But I just happened to start doing it.
Nah, I totally agree with you. That's how I started doing this also. One day I would have these random conversations with myself, and sometimes I'd get so deep into it that I'd forget that I'm talking to myself and no one's around. And I would have like these like aha moments, and I'd be like, damn, I should have wrote that down, or I should have recorded it, or someone should have been there, or like. And I whenever I started having these moments again, I started just putting on the notes, the recording notes app or whatever, or I forget what, no, the voice note recording app on my phone. And I would just record these conversations and later on go back to them and everything. And then little by little, it just led to the podcasting thing. And I really enjoyed it. But it's like you're saying, it's all about this whole thing of just being comfortable with yourself. And that's what I really like you guys, not only you guys are just doing everything in the right way, but you're doing it in a way that's really entertaining. It's fun. I see so many other people who are watching the interactions, who are trying to guess, and they're asking. I've gotten to ask a few times if I'm behind any of the accounts. I'm like, no, I literally just got into this. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
I actually, at one point, I think last week, I was like, I wonder if he's behind one of them or not.
No, I've been looking, and that's the thing. I guess because I've been poking around so much that people see, I'm like, I'm trying to keep up, and I'm trying to add all the accounts. So I feel like I'm in the loop of like who's interacting with who, but I'm not in any of the accounts. Like, I got so much other stuff. I wish I had the time. Like, I would love to be one of the accounts. Just like right now, I don't want to mix it up with anything else. But as a member of the community and as a fan of the community and everything, I love what you guys are doing, and I see how everyone else is getting involved and how it's growing little by little. And it's just the fact that you guys are just going about it in a fun way, where it's just getting the community to just see that, we're all just normal people at the end of the day. But at the same time, like, we all just got to change our perspective in the way that we're looking at life and just go about it more in a positive way of, whatever things happen, we're in control of what we're in control of, and we're not in control of what we're not. But at the same time, like, there's so many things that we can do throughout our day to just spread some love and positivity to someone. And you guys are using these characters to do it and these profiles. And it's just letting people have more fun with fun.
I think you went mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. I got
Okay.
you.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I got a notification saying that my mic unplugged or something, but sorry about that. But what I wanted to ask you next is like doing this whole account and being behind the PFP, like how do you see your role in the VFriends community doing this? And like, do you feel it's like something that you're looking to be like a collaborative of effort type thing, working with them, or is this just something that you're doing for fun individually just to experience things in a different way? Like you mentioned, like it's cool to be mysterious and behind something and not no one really knowing who you are, what your intentions are and stuff like that. It makes things fun and interesting, but at the same time some people can kind of abuse that power.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, how is it, like what was your like, or what is your main goal with this? I've asked Carly this, and I want to ask you, and if I have the opportunity, I want to be able to ask all the other people behind all the other accounts. But what is your main goal behind this? Are you looking to try to create something using this brand to leverage it for something else? Or are you just having fun with it and you're just trying to experience this from a different perspective where people aren't judgmental about who you are, where you're from, or anything like that? Like, give us more info behind it.
I mean, my goal is just to have fun. Like, I don't have any expectations about like what could be, but if certain things present themselves, we'll talk about it. But I have no desire to like get rich off this. I'm not trying to make money. I just want to make people smile and maybe make somebody happy that day. And if it happens to be me coming in their comments and saying something nice and bringing them up a little bit, that's fine. That's what I want to do. And I'm just going to keep doing it, and as long as it keeps letting me do it, And again, like I said, I have no ulterior motives about anything. Whatever presents itself, presents itself, and that's just how it is. But I want to just like make sure that I just want to help people, and I've always wanted to do that. I just didn't know how to go about it because I've always been kind of a shy person. But that's not why I really put the mask on. I'm gonna tell you, like, I wasn't really even having an idea of a mask, to be honest with you. I was talking to Miami Mike. We were talking in the messages, and he just made a comment and said, "You should probably just buy a pumpkin head and do podcasts with." And I said, and I was like, "Bet," And I was like, and I looked it up on Amazon and went and bought it that day and had it, and was waiting for the 200 followers to do my face reveal, which I knew it was going to be the video of me showing up with this. And I plan on doing more like videos in this. I've actually probably going to do a YouTube channel where I can actually do podcasts just like this and in the thing. And I'm just going to keep it going as long as I can. If people find out who I am, that's fine. But like I mentioned earlier, like even if I took the mask off right now, the only person who's seen me or ever talked to me is Carly. So not many people would probably even know who I was, even if I took it off. So, but I'm fine if someone found out. I know there's some that think they've messaged me and said, "I know who you are," and I'm like, all right, prove it. So, but again, I'm just rolling with it, because the mysterious, part of it, and that's the fun part right now. And then whenever it comes that my identity's out there, or I just decide to finally do it, I still would do stuff with the pumpkin head just for fun. But because that's my plan is eventually, once I build this up enough and get it, then eventually take the mask off. And that way, because I do want to have those relationships with people that I build off of who actually I look like than a pumpkin head. So that way, if I go places, they actually know who I am rather than behind the mask and things like that. So that's the plan down the road. But as long I'm gonna keep it on as long as it's still mysterious, and then see what happens.
100%. And Miami Mike was actually in the chat. I'm not sure if he's still here. He was kicking it with us on Twitch. Shout out to Miami Mike and the Miami Slide over there. And then we got Nacho. Nacho's always coming in and showing some love. Nacho was showing it with us. So shout out to you guys. They're in the chat right now on Twitch. Shout out to everyone else who's tuning in. We got 21 people. We got 18 on X. We got 3 on Twitch. And for anyone who's tuning in and listening or watching this on any of the platforms, if you would like to go and show some love and support to Jolly Jacko, I'll have all the information to anything that he's mentioned, whether it's the podcast that he has going on or any of his social media accounts. It will be located in the description of this episode, wherever you are listening or watching this right now. Jolly Jacko, or I just call you Jolly. Jolly.
Yeah, Jolly.
What is it that you think is the underlining appeal of the VeeFriends brand or community that's led other people to create their own accounts for their own characters that they're picking?
I just think it's like, I think there's a lot of things that it could come about that this happens, because I think it's just whatever they like. I think it comes down to like visually what they see, because we all are visual people. If you see something you like it. And then they just think about maybe the character, if that's them or not. Like, and sometimes people probably do it in a playful manner. Like, if I was an animal, like, what would I be? We all have probably thought that before in our life. And maybe now people are like, oh, I like the creative crab. He posts all these videos of crabs running wild all the time. For all I know, he may be somebody that runs around all the time, and that's why he figures he's a crab or something, But I think I know who he is. But yeah, other than Carly, I don't know anybody else who they are. But yeah, I think people just kind of will see if they can fit that character or not. And again, maybe a lion has been someone's favorite animal their whole life, and they just, now that there's a card that they actually can have that has a lion, they just kind of gear towards that. But I think people that are going to actually do the PFPs, they probably at some point deep down feel like that character or that character trait. And it may come down to the actual trait itself that people draw to, and then they like the character. Because now, like, the gratitude gorilla, that's another one of my top favorites. And I like it because of gratitude, and I like the way the artwork looks. So maybe that's kind of what it goes to, the character trait. And then they're like, oh, well, I actually like, and with some traits, there are multiple cards. So you don't always have to pick that one. You can actually pick between 2 or 3 different characters of certain traits. So I think that's what it boils down to, maybe, is that some people just have that trait, and that's what they end up being.
And do you feel, being that you started, you're one of the original people that started this whole movement of creating an account for one of the VeeFriend characters, and then it trickled, like we said, it just snowballed into what it is today. There's like 27, 28 different accounts now or something like that. And do you feel, or how do you feel that is affecting the VeeFriends community or the brand? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Does it upset you that other people jumped on and started doing the same thing? Are you happy that you saw it? Like, what was your overall reaction seeing that all these other character accounts are being created and playing along as well, or doing something along the lines that was similar to what you're doing? Like, what was your first initial reaction or response to it all?
I mean, I was actually kind of shocked because it was the yak that showed up third, I believe. And I reached out to Carly. I was like, you did this? And she's like, no, actually, I think I saw the yak. And then I reached out to her, and she was like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, no, for real. And then that's when it started building up, those 3. Do I think it's something positive? I do think it's something positive for the community. Do I think that everybody should probably do it? Yeah, I think I should, because then it's like a community within itself. But I'm not sure. So, what was the second part of that question? Because my phone broke up for a second.
No, not a problem. Do you feel like it's like a positive thing or a bad thing? Like, what was your first initial like reaction to it all when you started seeing all these other people create accounts? Like, was it something like, okay, what did I do, or what did I start, or was it more like, okay, everyone's like catching on to it? Like, what was it that you initially thought and felt, or your response? And where do you see it going? Do you think it's going to be a positive thing, that's it's going to have a positive outcome, not only for the community but for the brand of VeeFriends? Or do you look at it like it could possibly take a left turn and go the other way around and do something in a negative way? Like, what are your fears about it, basically?
I hope that it continues and we have more, and I hope that it like turns into something that, could be a group effort that we could start having different missions for. And I mean, as far as the VeeFriends community, I hope that it's something that everybody can enjoy, and want to do, and it gives them laughter and stuff like that. It'd be kind of cool to see all the characters have different accounts and go back and forth. As far as where I want to take it, I'm going to take it as far as it goes. If we get 280 characters, and like Carly said, if people want to be another Jolly Jacko, that's fine. We can be Jolly Jacko, and then we can collab and figure things out. But I think I think it is a positive thing. I don't think it's a negative thing per se. As far as it being branded, like I said, that's not anything in my intentions or, what I'm striving to. My whole point is to just make someone smile, because sometimes we do things like this within our own lives because, we need those type of things. And we wish that in moments that we had someone like a Jolly Jacko to come say something to us. So there's been times in my life that I wish I had somebody to kind of like reach out to that actually would talk back. But sometimes that doesn't happen, but that's kind of what we're for. So I'm hoping that it will continue that. And if our mission is only to be what we are and do what we're doing, then that's it. That's the mission. That was what was planned. Do I think that it's going to die out? I really don't think it is going to die out. Now, of course, I think there may be, we may come to times where it's a plateau because but everybody has to be. If you create an account, we want you to be active. We want you to actually create, do the things, because if you create it and we don't, and you don't do anything, it's kind of like, what are we doing? Like, but we want you to be active, and we want it to keep growing, because the only way we're going to grow is if we all are active. And if we're all doing this and we all have a mission, because Carly's the OG, she's the leader, the ring leader. So like we kind of go as she goes. And like I said, in the chat, she's coming. I don't know how she has the time to do all the stuff she's doing. She's a beast. Like, I wish I had all that energy and stuff. And she still goes to bed early. That's what blows my mind. But like, she has a lot of ideas that she helps us with. There's times that she'll send me stuff and say, hey, Jolly, this is what you need to do a meme on. And then like, we'll collab on that. And I'll say, all right. And then I'll go create it. Cause I'm kind of like you. I just kind of jump into things just to start practicing. Like, so over the summer when I started this, it started helping me with Canva, because that's what I use a lot of my stuff on, is Canva, to create those pictures and those things. And it was actually helping me learn how to do these things by doing this. So it's actually beneficial in other parts of my life, because now I'm at school, I'm teaching these kids, we're designing a hoodie and we're using Canva. So it's kind of like, I use all this stuff really to like benefit all aspects of the stuff I do in my life. And I teach the kids the same thing. Like, we were watching VeeFriend cartoons in class. And I tell my students all the time, I can care less if I'm teaching you technology, because you're going to have to learn it one way or the other. But I want to teach you how to work hard, be a good person, and like be nice to each other. If we all are nice to each other, we could all, like I tell them all the time, if everybody would worry about being nice for yourself and help the next person, like your generation could change this world, like easily. Like it could be changed easily if everybody had that same mindset to like work together again instead of being against each other. We could change it. This generation could change it tremendously. So like, that's kind of like my mission, and everything I do kind of all tangles together. So that gives me motivation to do this, because like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, there's some people who like, I feel like just kind of have a little small conversation with me because they may be lonely that day. They may just need a little inspiration, and they're just talking to a pumpkin head, but in real life, like they're talking to somebody, they're just talking to vent themselves and to just feel better about things and maybe get some clarification or maybe some answers or something, or maybe just a way to feel good and move out through their day and have a great day. So I definitely hope this continues, and I hope we get 280 characters of doing this. And I really hope that everybody who decides they want to do it is serious about it, which so far we're all serious and we're in there. You know, we all have different schedules. So like right now with school started back, you don't see me posting so much during the day anymore because I'm at school. But in the afternoon, like Carla, we go try to do a lot of stuff in the afternoons.
I hear you, but I like that. I like that you guys are literally like networking, communicating with each other, and have a positive goal through everything. And you're hoping that everyone else who gets involved has the same exact moral compass in the sense of what they're trying to do and accomplish through all of this. And I know you mentioned how you reached out to certain people, or some people just like to be able to speak to somebody. And I like that also, that you guys are literally there for anyone, especially Carly. I know that Carly does that also. She has conversations with people and she talks them through a lot of stuff. Carly is badass, like you mentioned. Carly does a lot of stuff. I question how she has like a twin or something, because she's like all over the place.
Yeah.
And
and that may be why I kind of maybe went with the joking aspect too, because I know that Carly spends most of her day talking to people about weight loss journey and trying to push people to do this when they don't want to do it. So when she comes to Twitter and comes to do this is her getaway time. So it's kind of like, in a way, I'm doing a service of just joking with her and trying to get her to forget about those things and just laugh, you know, because we all have hard things in our lives that we wish some people would just take the time to make us laugh or do something. So like, you know, that's kind of maybe why I went with the joking route also. And I started, you know, paying more attention to the comics and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't really mean it to be like this, but now that I know that this is the character, it's in my blood because I am kind of a jokester and like to make jokes. I'm just going to run with this. So
I love that, man. And I like the fact that you also not only like you're there for each other, you're supporting each other in these character roles, you're supporting other people, not just people in the community, just other people that you're seeing need a little pick me up. I see you guys in the comments, I see you guys interacting not only with each other but with other random people as well that you see on your feed. And I just like how it's been growing. It's like it's almost like a disease, but like a good one, in the sense that it's positivity that's spreading.
I mean, I guess I'm going to have to get a panoramic picture at some point, and like
you're going to have to. I see it growing and growing and growing.
Because now I think it's getting to a point where if I put some more over in the left corner, the crab's going to get covered up. So now I got to figure out I got to bring him forward on the image, and that's a lot of thinking. My brain hurts after being in school all day, you know.
It's gonna look like a Where's Waldo type of thing, and they got to fight.
And honestly, I kind of like, in a way, have already thought about that. So kind of like, and I think I made a post one time with Jolly Jacko about that. Like, I think it was SummerSlam or WrestleMania just happened, and I found a crowd, and I made my picture really small, and I was like, "Where's Jolly Jacko?" And actually, that's something that I was going to be doing more of too. So, but yeah, it's just fun, and like you said, it may just be fun for myself too, to help me wind down from things and just cut up with some people. Because like where I live, like a lot of my friends, like close friends, they don't live where I live. Like they live in other towns, and you know my circle's small anyway. As you get older, you know your circles get smaller, and my circle's small. And really around here where I'm at, like I have friends that I work with, they're my close friends, but no one is on like the same not mindset, but same not level either. I don't know the word I want to say, but everybody's kind of content in their lives at their jobs, and I'm not, because I'm a teacher. I'm not even a certified teacher, so I don't get paid teacher pay. So like I'm getting paid peanuts to go do this and have to work 12 hours a day, but I know I'm changing kids' lives doing it. And I got other things in the work right now that I'm trying to finish certain things so I can start getting my certificate and all that. But like I just want to like help people and do things like that. And if I honestly, I would, if I could sit at home and be Jolly Jacko all day long and, and be able to pay my bills, like, here we go. I'm gonna be the best Jolly Jacko you ever gonna have. I'll be all over the place.
I love that though. I love that you're devoted to that, and it's actually something that you're enjoying doing. No one's forcing you to do it. You don't have to get paid to do it. You're just literally
Yeah,
doing it because you're having a great time. You're enjoying the process of it. You don't know what's gonna happen,
I have
but
no idea what's gonna happen.
you're just rolling with it. Before I go with any more questions, I want to touch on something because I know you mentioned it, how you reach out to certain people and sometimes you don't get a response. I've also seen your post where you've been reaching out to Gary to at least get a hi from Gary. So have you had any, whether as the character Jolly Jacko or as yourself personally, have you ever had any type of interaction yet with Gary or anyone in his team? You know, everyone's always talking about Ribs or they're always talking about Andy and things like that. Have you had any interactions with anyone yet in that level of Gary's team or Gary himself yet, or no?
Well, I've had some interaction with Rips and I think it's Connor on Fanatics Live, just through my business stuff. So some people may know me as that, and Josh Courage. Like, some people may know me through that, but not really know me. They just probably have seen my name. I've never met Gary in my life. Never been even in the same building or vicinity with Gary. But that's like something I want to do, because honestly, the reason why I started my card business over a year ago was because of Gary. Because I got into watching Gary, and then I got and listened to his all this stuff, and then and then I just liked his whole message. And then I knew then it was cards, and I'm in the cards big time. So I was like, okay, never been in the TCG or anything like that, but I know that Gary, what he puts out, he's putting out a positive message, and I like the way the cards were, so I kind of went with that. Had no idea that it all was really NFTs and all this stuff, because I'm clueless when it comes to those type of things, but because I more came in on the card aspect. So I never met Gary. That's why I'm just like, I think he's like one post, and I'm just trying to see if I could get a what's up, because like I said, I've never even come across, like, that's one of my goals, is to, like, most everybody want to go and shake his hand and like tell him thank you for just inspiring me to do, just taking that leap. I know he's been making that post lately about taking a leap. Like, that's why I did it. And I'm unsure how it's even going to pan out, because like, I don't come from money. I don't have money. I don't make a lot of money. So like, this is all just boom. I'm going in and I'm jumping in and see what happens. And again, I'm doing it just for me and doing it for just being positive and spreading that message. And like I said, I'm not looking for anything. Whatever happens, happens. But I would definitely, my goal is to meet Gary and shake his hand one day and tell him thank you. And, tell him that if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't probably be standing here right now, because I went through a divorce, like, 4 years ago. That was hard. And I had my 9-year-old son. So like, if it wasn't for him, like, being positive, like, I was definitely going down different paths and making bad decisions. And he helped me dig myself out of that, even in really my lowest points. Because like, I was sitting, there's a lot of times I sat at home by myself and listened to Gary, and he was just encouraging, and he helped me get out of that hole. And even though, I'm not making all this money in my business, I've always wanted to do it. I always wanted to be a card shop, have cards, and do all that. I just never took the jump, or never had the ability to do it. And I really didn't have the ability then. I just got tired of saying, what if? And I didn't want to be sitting when I'm 60, 70 years old saying, I wish I would have done something. Like, at least if I do it and I fail, I know I tried, and I tried my best. And that's really what it boils down to. So that's kind of, once I started listening to him and paying more attention to that, and actually changing my perspective about things, like, and actually having true goals. Because like, growing up, you have goals, but you don't really know if they're like true goals. Like, of course you want to go to college and do all that. That's a goal. But I started thinking recently when I was like 40, and I was like, you know what? I don't actually think I have ever had like goals that I went after ever. And I was like, now it's time. I'm 40 something years old. I'm not getting younger. Like, it's time to make a move.
I hear you, man, and I agree with you. There's something about Gary and the things that he does and the things that he says, and he attracts other people with the same mindset. It really, it really gets people to just start thinking in a positive way about themselves. It really starts. He gives you hope. He's really good at giving people hope.
Oh
and
yeah.
the community as well. He's attracted all these people to come together and speak life into other people and be really supportive and positive. And I feel like all of that is just a great combination. The community is honestly, I feel like, just a physical version of who Gary is, in the sense of what his goals are behind V Friends. And sometimes people find it hard to believe that there's someone that careless, in the sense of they're just doing things just because, and they really just want you to be okay and be happy and feel safe, and feel that you're able to accomplish whatever you set your goal, your mind on, and reach those goals and everything. And I agree with you. I think it's one of those things, like, a lot of people may not understand, but when you're going through a lot of stuff, it's hard to find someone who's willing to be there for you and be that person that keeps you grounded. So when you find that person or that energy or that thing that you need from a random person that you don't know from a hole in the wall, just from a few videos that they make, or stumbling upon the community they created just by from some cartoon characters and stuff. Like, it goes a lot deeper than that, than a lot of
But
people.
it's actually, long story short, it's kind of like, it's crazy how I even came about Gary, because I had a best friend of like 30 something years, and he was just a negative person. He was someone who talked about it but wasn't about it. He was just a narcissist. He wasn't a good friend. But I was his friend for my entire life, and like, he always just kind of like screwed me over, and like I always forgave him and things like this. And we were good friends. I'm not gonna say it was like that, but eventually, as I got older, I was just tired of all the negativity, and he just like, when you went around him, it was the same thing, same thing. And he's the one who introduced me to Gary about being positive. And then I was like, well, this dude's not even being positive. Like, but then, like, actually, the guy who introduced me to Gary, and once I learned about Gary and learned how people are and like what I should not tolerate in my life, like, that's the reason I cut that guy out of my life too. And the second I cut him out of my life, like, things changed in my life. Like, all the negativity went away. So it's kind of crazy how I even found Gary. The person who introduced me to Gary is a person I had to cut away. So like, I feel like it was like kind of destined in a way too, that I even come across Gary, because that's another reason how he helped me, because it was a toxic friendship. Like, and people would always ask me like, why are you still friends with him? And I'm like, I don't know. I never really could answer it. And I just would say, well, I've just known him my whole life. And I started thinking like, you can't be friends with people and have people in your life just because you know them. Like, if they're not a good person and they're just bringing you down all the time and just things like that, like, they're not benefiting your life. So that's kind of like, it's kind of kind of ironic how the person who introduced me to Gary, I needed it to cut him out of my life.
I was gonna ask you that also. Like, how is it doing this whole thing of creating and maintaining the persona of Jolly Jacko? How has that impacted your personal growth or development? Because, like a lot of people still are learning about V Friends, and they may not understand or get it, that each character has like its own like character trait of what it's really known for and what it does and everything. And just the community itself is just a positive uh, um it's just a positive source of just positivity, period, of people that are willing just to give you the time of day to speak with you, to listen to you, to share from their firsthand experiences and everything like that. And with everyone's interaction, it's like you mentioned, like, you got introduced to this, you got introduced to a different way of looking at things, and you were able to self-analyze and realize, okay, this person isn't good for me and I got to cut this out of my life. And you saw a drastic change in it.
Yeah.
So what do you feel is, something that's changed in a good way, whether it's your personal life or something that you realized yourself, since you've taken this persona of Jolly Jack and created profiles and everything like that, and you've kept up with this whole role playing thing? Like, is there something that you've noticed throughout this process, as not only with the community itself, being that they really don't know who you are. But is there anything else that you've noticed with yourself personally that maybe you've now been able to change or realize that you really didn't realize before?
I just know, it's helped me understand, like, networking is definitely something that you need in your life, and you need good people in your life. And it's just helped me kind of get a little bit of balance, even though it's added more to my life as far as, but it's not like I dread doing it. It's not something that you dread. Like Gary says, if you find something you love doing it, do it. And I don't say, oh, I gotta go make a couple videos, I gotta go do this, I gotta do this. It's actually helped me find a little bit of balance in my life with all my other stuff. Now I don't post as much on my business stuff because I was doing like content on that, and I could tell it wasn't really hitting per se. So I kind of like slacked off on the content that way and just made my business more about selling the cards and doing, because I do live breaks on my Facebook page and stuff. So doing things like that, because I felt like the content part, and I could be wrong, was like pushing some people away because they were more in it for the buying and selling the cards and not watching me do videos and stuff. So this actually helped, and I like doing the videos. So it kind of, this part actually helps me more as far as that, and it helps me like just have fun and like release some energy or some time and just something to do. And it's not like it's work, when and I love selling cards and stuff like that, but when you're doing that, you always have that mindset of like, I need to sell something, I need to make some money, I got paid this credit card bill that's coming up, like things like that. But this, I'm just doing it just to be doing it with nothing in the outcome. Like I'm not saying, oh, I got to do this because I need money, or I'm gonna do this because I need, doing it for myself, just to have fun and have a good time. Because when I'm not at school and my son's not with me, I'm usually rolling solo at the house. Like, because I'm not a go out to the bar type person. I stay home. I've already learned that. I've had my fun back in the day, so I pretty much stay home and do those type of things. And so like it's definitely helped me, maybe I guess, get grounded in a way, and also understand that actually there is benefits to networking and benefits to starting relationships with people that you may not know, because you never know who you're going to meet. Like you could literally meet somebody that could come in and change your life overnight just by having a conversation with somebody and having some common interest, and just come up with some crazy idea and run with it. And next thing you know, you look back and be like, I can't believe that happened.
I hear you, man. We have Nacho, who's in the chat, says that he liked the Spotify Empty Headed Thoughts podcast. So anyone, again, we got Jolly Jacko here. We're trying to do a we're meeting the person behind the mask, behind the PFP, getting to know him a little bit better. He's dropping some hints here and there and the information that he's been sharing about himself personally. So if you're able to listen to this or watch this and put the clues together of who this might be, make sure that you share your thoughts or your ideas of who the person behind the PFP and behind the mask might be in the chat. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, we're just chilling right here. We've been live streaming for about an hour right now, and so we're getting to the point where we're seeing more and more people just really get on the bandwagon, I guess, or on the wave, or whatever it is you want to call this movement of creating accounts and finding a character and role playing and just keeping up with it. And it's just been really entertaining. It's fun. So for the people who are just tuning in, we're getting to know Jolly Jacko, and we're getting to just learn more about this phenom that's happening right now with all these character accounts. And so what I wanted to ask you next is, as far as pertaining to all these accounts and everything like that, what kind of impact do you hope to have with Jolly Jacko in this account? Like, what is it that you're hoping to inspire other people, or what is your main goal through everything? and where do you see it leading up to in the next, because it's only been a couple months, and like we said, we're up to like 20 something accounts. Like, do you think it's going to keep growing? Do you think it's going to stop where it's at? Like, what's your prediction, and what is your goal with your specific Jolly Jacko account?
Prediction is it's going to keep growing. I know it is. It's just going to happen. And because Carly's the driver of the truck, so it is, we don't have a choice at this point. We're rolling with it. But and what is the goal here? The goal is just like I've said the whole time, make someone smile. Come in and make it where if to help people. All of us reach out to people and just be there for people who may need somebody that's not out there throwing their business around saying they need people. Because you never, like I said, you never know who's going through what, and they may make a post, and you just making that one little comment and saying what's up or how you doing, good morning, like brighten someone's day up. So the main goal would just be to spread kindness through the world, and hopefully it is contagious where that person that you spread the kindness to will pass it along, and then maybe one day we can all look back and be like, look what we did, look how we changed some things. Even if it changed a little bit, we still made an impact.
I love that. We have the Willful Wizard account joining us on X right now, who's saying that it was you that inspired them to create their Willful Wizard account. And that's just crazy. It shows that what you and Carly are doing is actually affecting other people and inspiring people in many different ways, whether it's inspiring them by continuing sharing and spreading the message that you guys are sharing through your actions and comments and interactions, or whether it's just inspiring them to fully go in and pick one of these characters and do a role-playing account themselves also as well. It's great, it's amazing, I love it. And I agree with you, man. I love what you guys are doing. I totally hope for the same thing. I hope that this is just inspiring other people, because it's like you said, we all have our good days, our bad days, and sometimes our bad days don't need to be as bad as they are. The world doesn't need to be as ugly and as dark as people make it out to seem, or as social media has making it seem lately. Like, yes, there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world right now, but at the end of the day, there's certain things that we can control, and there's things that we can't, and we have to focus on what we can control. And what we can control is the way that we perceive things and how we let it affect us in our day, and how we interact with each other. And it should be no reason to not be kind to each other, regardless of whether we know each other or not, regardless if we know the person behind the mask or the PFP. It shouldn't stop you from being positive. It shouldn't stop you from being caring and just asking someone if they're okay. If someone is posting and sharing that they're not having a good day, it's for a reason. Why does this keep unmuting my mic?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I got you.
No one is going to keep posting that they're having a bad day, or they're not happy, or they're in a bad mood just because. They're literally yelling and asking for some attention, for some help, for someone to care, for someone to speak to. So I always pay attention to those things, especially when it comes online. Like, no one likes to be public about them going through hard times. It's for a reason. And sometimes it's a lot easier to be there for someone, or to listen, or to express yourself, when you could do it behind a persona of something that you don't know. So the fact that you guys are taking advantage of this, but in a positive way, instead of taking advantage of it in the sense of doing things maliciously, I really like that. I really support what you guys are doing. I love it. It gets me really excited every time I keep seeing you share the family portrait, or the group photo of everyone, and how there's a new character there. And like, it's been really entertaining. It's been really fun. And what I wanted to ask you next pertaining to all this is, how do you balance managing your Jolly Jacko account with your personal life and other responsibilities? Like you mentioned, you're a teacher, it's school is starting up again, and now you got to focus on that. But then again, this is something that you do. You enjoy doing it. You have fun with it. But how is it that you're able to maintain that balance between your personal life or your personal accounts and what you have to do at your job and what you're doing with this account and interacting with people?
I mean, you just gotta put your mind to it and make and like if it's not fun for you and you're dreading doing it, then it's probably not for you. Um, and in the past with my business, I would be posting stuff for my business, and there was times I'd be like, oh, I need to go put. And I was not that I didn't want my business. I didn't. It was just posting stuff for the business. Um, but this, it's it just it just kind of flows. And I don't dread it. It's fun. I kind of like now that I'm in school, I kind of think about things all day long about what I want to post when I get home. So so now I have more time to actually think about it rather than being more sporadic and try to get some things on deck. But I kind of go how I see things post, and then I build off of that. And just balance. It's just it, if you want it, you're going to do it. If it's something you want to do, you will make time for it, no matter what it is. And that's just life in general with anybody, even if it's good or bad. If it's something you're doing bad and you want to do it, you're going to make time for it. You're going to make it happen. So it's just trying to figure out what you want to do, and if that's really what you want to do, and then you will definitely make time to do it.
I agree with you, man. I think that's something that a lot of people need to pay attention to also. A lot of us reach out to people and sometimes we don't get the response we're expecting, or there's a lack of interaction. And actions speak louder than words. And I strongly agree with you. If there's someone who says they care, they want to be there, they're trying to help or support or anything, just take their actions. If someone wants to do something, they're going to do it. If someone really believes that they're good at something or they're trying to start something and you want to support them, but you see that there's a lack of effort on their part, there's only so much you can do on your end. You can't push anyone to do something or say something or to believe in something. There are going to be some people that are going to be a fan of this and be able to join the community and learn some positive things and take that and utilize it in their life and improve their life in some way or another. There's going to be other people that aren't going to take the time. It's no different than the Web3 space and NFTs and crypto. There's going to be some people that are going to take the time to go through it and learn it and learn the benefits of it and utilize that, and there's other people that aren't. It's the same with this community. It's the same with all these communities. There's something more to it than just collecting and trading and flipping and selling and buying and all this other stuff. You don't have to own an NFT in this community to be part of it. You don't have to buy stuff in of like merchandise to be a part. People are willing to talk to you, and it's like this person right now that we're speaking to, Jolly Jackal. There's a person behind the mask that decided to take their time, their energy, and put it into these accounts just so that they can spread some positivity and shed some light into someone's life in some way, shape, or form. So the fact that there's all these different ways to look at it in a negative way, but you guys, not only you yourself and Carly and everyone else, you guys are literally going about it in a positive way, and you're not letting it affect you. You're not letting it make you too big-headed. You're not taking advantage of it like, oh, no one knows, so they're trusting the brand and I did this so I can just do something maliciously. Like, you guys are just doing it to do it, and you're doing it because you care, and it's really obvious that it's coming from a good place. And that's what I want to try and help and shed some light on with this episode, with talking to you, with the things that I share online. I want people to see that there's good, kind-hearted people with good intentions behind these profiles, within these communities, behind these brands. And I think that you're doing an amazing job. All of you guys are doing great things. I love what you guys are building. It's turning into something. At first, I thought it was just funny. Now I see what it's turning into, and it's great. There's great stuff coming, man. And I want to make sure that everyone takes the time to follow you guys. So make sure, again, for everyone tuning in, we're up to 31 people that are tuning in right now. We got 29 on X, 2 on Twitch. Everyone, please make sure that you go and give Jolly Jackal a follow, show some love and support. Make sure that you're following and subscribe to Clocking Out as well. our goal is to hopefully one day have each and every one of the characters on here, so we can really give everyone a good idea of what's going on in this big family that's being built. So before we get out of here and we close things up, we've been streaming for an hour and 15 minutes. I have a few more questions that I want to ask you, and the one of them is, how do you envision, or what do you see yourself doing with this character as far as your content? Like you mentioned, being at school where you normally work and coming up with these ideas. Like, what is your goal with your content in the sense of what you're creating? Like, I know in your personal life you're selling cards and everything, so the content that you're creating is probably going to be more towards attracting people to come to your stream and buy and all that stuff. But with this account, what is your goal through your content and your interactions with people? And also, would you be willing, being that there's so many other people behind the other accounts, and we have like the Willful Wizard that's chilling with us in the chat right now on X, would you also consider collaborating with any of these other people behind these other character accounts as well?
Yes, definitely. I'm definitely down to collaborate and with other people, other characters, and I mean, if we can, collab, make videos, go back and forth, I'm down for all that. My content, for right now, I'm gonna kind of, it's building up to Halloween time, so I'm kind of thinking like that's my Super Bowl. So like the month of October like is where I'm kind of like trying to start thinking about. I've got some ideas that are going forward. Probably you'll probably start seeing some more of that type of content around like Septemberish, when we start getting the a little bit chillier fall weather and get closer to Halloween. So I'll probably start ramping up different type of content at that point. For right now, I'm going to continue with the jokes about the other characters and just jokes in general, and going back and forth, and cutting, just making those type of little comic strips, because a lot of times I don't want to do things that I don't want to cross any boundary as far as like going too far, as far as like making these little cartoon things, because I know that we have V Friends cartoons. So I'm trying to, I'm treading that lightly, as far as, I don't want to cross it where, make anybody upset or mad, or maybe not mad, but just frustrated that I'm doing this when like this way. So like, I definitely don't want to cross any boundaries. So that's kind of why I go do different stuff, because I want to see what kind of is working and what's hitting. And I mean, with the little little comic animation things that I make back and forth about me telling a joke, like I did to the Common Sense Cow, like I'll do some more like that. Like I said, again, I don't want to cross too many boundaries. So I'm gonna stick to the basics right now, until, I'm told, maybe to stop, or hey, let's go forward and let's run with this even different. Like I'm down to do whatever it comes to be. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm only learning myself. So a lot of the content is really just me trying new things for myself to see if I can make it happen. Like I'll have an idea, and then I'll go on Canva. That's what I use mainly. I know that's something new, and I go in there and try to make it work and see what happens. So my content is probably going to stay the same on each platform for the most part, and I still do my pot inspirational quotes and things like that. And I did create through chat GTP. I created like a little story of all the Jolly Jacko and all the V Friends characters that I haven't really posted yet. I have that in my back pocket, trying to figure out how I want to go about posting that. So I do go and find and like use chat GTP and be like, hey, create me a poem about this and this and this with this character and this character, just to see what it's going to create for me. And sometimes that helps me inspire me to go a different route with a different type of content too.
I like that. I like that you're utilizing all these different things to be creative. It's letting people know that there's other things that you can use, because Canva, yes, you can pay for it, but it does have a free version of it. Chat GPT, yes, you can pay for it, but it does have a free version of it. Also,
Yeah.
for a lot of people that don't know, on Google also, I forget what it's called, but
I
I
think
know
it's Jim. Is it Gemini?
Gemini, yes, it's
Yeah.
Gemini. It has its own version of its Chat GPT AI assistance that's also free. You can use that as well. A lot of these things, it can either help you. I know the free versions have certain limits, but they can help you. They're really creative, helping you with ideas, helping you with creating images or scripts or anything like that. So I think that a lot of people who want to take that leap into being creative and feel like they're limited by stuff should really start toying around with things like that. And I agree with you. Canva is really great. I use Canva as well. That's what helped me do all my profiles and logos and backgrounds and things like that. I started with that, and it sparks your curiosity. Once you see all the things that you can do, you start playing around with it, and the more time that you spend in it, the more better that you get with it. Nothing is better than firsthand experience. So it's not something that you have to be really educated on as far as graphic designing and all these other different things. It's really user friendly. So anyone who's tuning in and listening, if you have any ideas that you want to try to create, I would definitely like Jolly's mentioning, definitely go check out Canva, and utilize that and see what you can create with that. But I like that you're mentioning all these things. These are things that anyone has access to. Anyone can go and check it out and create some stuff. So before we get out of here, Jolly, is there anything you want to let any of the followers, any of the viewers and listeners know about yourself personally, about your persona of your character, Jolly Jacko? Like, what's the message that you would like to send out there to anyone who's listening, tuning in, or anyone who's first getting their let's say this is their first experience with V Friends or the community or anything at all? Is there any message you would like to share with our listeners and supporters before we get out of here?
Just be you and follow your dreams and don't give up on your dreams. Like, can get those goals, that dream that you want to do, because you got to put actions behind it. Like, everybody can talk about it. Like, that's one of my sayings: don't talk about it, be about it. We all can sit there and bump our gums and say we're going to do this or going to do that, but until you put action behind it, it ain't never going to happen. And it really doesn't have to be fast. Like, it could be slow, as long as you're creeping along forward and learning every day, and like not giving up and learning from the process, learning from the mistakes. Because like, I see it every day where kids try something one time and they give up. And I'm like, yo, you got to keep pushing. So like, don't give up on your dreams. It can happen, and it's going to happen, as long as you stay the path and stay the course and cut out the negativity and stuff that you don't need in your life. So that would be my message: is just be yourself and find what you love and go do that, because that's the only way that you're truly going to be happy within yourself. Because if you're not happy within yourself, you can't do anything out on the outside world, because you have to be content with yourself and be happy, and before you go out and spread that somewhere else, because otherwise you're just going to be holding things in. So just be you. And if people don't like you or want to be around you or think you're weird or anything like that, then guess what? Those aren't your people. And you'll find your people one day. And it may not be in your town. It may be on the internet with a person wearing a pumpkin head. But it could definitely, you just got to find your people. I'm 43, and I really just started this journey like hardcore about 3 years ago. So this is not something that, I've done my whole life. This is something that I just finally said, I'm tired of sitting around, and I don't want to be 70, 80 years old and saying, I wish I would have done something, or I wish I did this, because it's too late when you start wishing.
Uh-huh.
So just be you and do the things you love, and guess what? Things will work out.
I love that message, and you're 100% right, man. Everyone just needs to be themselves, follow your heart, trust your gut, and just do what makes you happy. As long as you're not hurting anyone or doing anything maliciously, I don't think that there's anything wrong. But we all should be living our lives the way that we truly want to, and in the way that brings us peace and joy and happiness, because we only live once. And we always come up with excuses on why we shouldn't follow our heart or why we shouldn't do what we truly want, and we never come up with enough excuses on why we should, and I totally agree with you. Everyone should just be kind, be themselves, and being yourself without you really realizing, you attract other people, other like-minded people with similar goals, with similar thoughts and ideas, and that share that moral compass, you know. And it's just like this community, you know, you'll come across someone that you didn't think would be able to relate to you in some way, and, you know, surprise surprise. So I really appreciate you coming by. I appreciate everyone chilling with us and kicking it with us in the chat. Shout out to Nacho. Shout out to the Willful Wizard. Shout out to Miami Mike and the Miami Slide. Shout out to Brett, who was chilling with us on YouTube also as well. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. And anyone else who was listening to this or watching this live stream after the fact, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Be sure to leave some love in the comments. Share your thoughts and ideas of who you think the real person behind the mask of Jolly Jacko truly is in the comments, and maybe we'll get down and figure out who this mystery is. Jolly, please, the day that you do your reveal and everything like that, I know you mentioned your business with cards and everything. I would love to have you on here again.
Oh,
And
I'll definitely. You're doing a great job, and like I'll anytime you want me on, let me know. I'll make it work, and we definitely we'll keep building this relationship together and moving forward.
100%. I love it. And if there's anything I could do moving forward to help you out, man, let me know. Everybody, please make sure to go and give Jolly a follow, show him some love and support. Anyone who is listening to this or watching this, wherever you are tuning in, you can check out the information to go and give Jolly a follow on any of his social media accounts in the description of this podcast episode. Thank you guys so much for chilling and kicking it with us once again. I am PR, the King of Hearts. This has been Clocking Out Podcast. I love you guys. Stay safe. Have a great night. Peace.